Let me find the right measure in the load of today's work. Do not let the things I like to do keep me from fulfilling my duties. Help me to be responsible. I ask for a cheerful heart. Help me to reflect the joy of you to everyone that I meet, to say the right word at the right time, to be silent when I should.
All right, so it's good to see you smiling again this morning. Father looks 10 years younger.
Yes, much better, much rested.
Right. So we are ready to start another day. We're going to Gethsemane this morning, and that's a very powerful site where we're going to be talking about the Passion of Christ.
Here we are walking up the base of the Mount of Olives to go into the Church of Gethsemane, the Church of the Agony, here on the Mount of Olives, going in for Mass. We're now walking through the Garden of Gethsemane here with some of the olive trees. There's at least 4 of them here that are over 2,000 years old, and if they had, that one's one of them right there, they had mouth and ears, eyes, they'd tell you what they saw 2,000 years ago with Jesus' agony here. One there is the oldest of the trees. Look at that trunk on that thing. It was here when Jesus was here. This is the rock where Jesus sweat drops of blood right here.
Brethren, let us acknowledge our sins and so prepare ourselves to celebrate the sacred mysteries. I confess to Almighty God and to you, my brothers and sisters, that I have greatly sinned in my thoughts and in my words. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Hail Mary.
Until the defeat of the Crusaders by Salah ad-Din. We go back to 1187, the 4th of July, the Battle of Hattin that we talked about. And as a result, of course, we lost.
We're now at the Church of Noster, where Jesus taught his disciples to pray the Our Father. This time that you are restoring the kingdom of Israel? Duh. They've been with him all this time and they still think, where's the white horse? Where's your sword? Are you now that you're risen from the dead, let's go. We're going to take over Jerusalem, kick the Romans out. Is the kingdom of Israel going to be reestablished now? They're still not, they don't get it still. Now, a couple of things. The word power, you will receive power. The Greek word is dunamis. What English word do you think we get from that? Dynamite. That's the same word as dynamite. You will receive dunamis, dynamite. This is where we get that word from. When the Holy Spirit's come upon you, and you'll be my witnesses. That Greek word there is martus. What word do you? Martyrs. And here, the understatement of the century. And after he had said these things, he was lifted up while they were looking on, and a cloud received him out of their sight. That's it. He was standing there. All of a sudden, this guy who was always on the ground starts to go up. Can you imagine the shocked look on their face? Why did a cloud? Remember when we were on Mount Tabor? I said a cloud came down. A cloud represents the glory of God. He left the earth and went back up into heaven into the glory of God. Where did he go beyond the cloud? Go to Daniel chapter 7, verses 14 and 15. Daniel says, Behold, I saw one like the Son of Man coming in the cloud, and he was presented before the Ancient of Days, God the Father, and he was given a kingdom which will have no end. So Daniel chapter 7 tells us what happens on the other side of the cloud. And now for one of the silliest questions in the whole Bible. As they were gazing intently up into the sky, two men in white clothing stood behind them and said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand there looking into the sky? Well, because he just went up there. He's always on the ground, and he just went in. This Jesus, said the angel, who was taken up from you into heaven, will come in just the same way as you watched him go into heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen.
This is the cave where Jesus taught his disciples to pray the Our Father. And we just recited it 2,000 years later, in a different language, of course. Here's the cave where Jesus taught his disciples to pray the Our Father, and here's the Our Father in English, among 180 other languages. This is Zion Gate, and you can see all the pockmarks from the war, Six-Day War, 1967. We just got off here at Mount Zion. We're going to go and see the Dormition of Mary in the upper room. There's where we just were, the Church of Dormition. Now we're coming into the upper room.
The Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death.
Here we are. We're going to have lunch at Ramat Rachel Hotel, which is a kibbutz, but if you want to read it in Hebrew, here we go. Ramat Rachel Hotel. Here we go. We're the first group here, and we are going to the buffet line. Look at this great stuff. Bird and chicken and beef. Schnitzel's my favorite too, the schnitzels. And look at the dessert tables here. And the salad table. Father's already imbibing at the salad table. So, and then we're going to sit over there. Heading up to Mount Zion. There's the top of Mount Zion. You can see it. We're going to Peter in Gallicantu. That means where the cock crowed. This is where Peter denied Jesus and where Jesus was put in prison over Holy Thursday night. Oh, there's a rooster. We know we're going in the right direction. There's another one on top of the church.
And all the chief priests and the elders and the scribes came together. Peter followed him at a distance into the high priest's courtyard and was seated with the guards, warming himself by the fire. The chief priests and the entire Sanhedrin kept trying to obtain testimony against Jesus.
So we've arrived at the prison where Jesus was kept over Holy Thursday. These windows are for us. Of course, there's a hole right there for the cistern. They would have dropped him down into this big pit, and that's where he spent Holy Thursday. We're now down in the cistern, and that's the hole where Jesus would have been lowered down into this huge cistern. And we're all coming down to experience a little bit of what he experienced. And I'm going to read Psalm 88 here, which I think is quite the prophetic psalm. Here are the stairs, part of the Roman road, to going up where Jesus went for the Eucharist and then to be tried. Here it is, looking from the top down. So these are the holy steps that Jesus came up to be tried by Caiaphas, and then went back down to be crucified. So these are holy Roman steps, part of the Roman road. And our folks are touching their rosaries there on the top 3 steps, which are still left open for us to touch. After this, we all went back to the Notre Dame Center. Everybody had a few hours of free time because they were so efficient and prompt today. But we did take the Hardens over to the Latin Patriarchate, which is the Archbishop of Jerusalem, and they are a knight and lady of the Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre. So here they received their very special pilgrimage shells from one of the auxiliary bishops. And then everybody else was able to go to confession because Father Mark took the afternoon to hear confessions. And then we went to see the Holy Shroud exhibit here at the Notre Dame Center. Very exceptional. Get to bed early tonight because we're leaving. Remember, like 4 in the morning, we're waking you up. So, and I know you're all going to say, "What are you doing that?" But I'll tell you what. When we get back, you'll thank us. You'll thank us later for what we did for you.
So with Steve, there's always a question. So how many of you are tourists?
See, I
did that once a few months ago, almost half a year ago, and some started to raise their hand, and he said, no.
How many of you are pilgrims?
And another thing I will tell you, it's easy to recognize, I've been here since December, Steve and Janet's group, the joy that all of you have, right? And so I know when I go by, his group always says hello, even though they don't know who I am, and it doesn't matter. So that's a really...
Because we always say hi to the priests and thank them for being priests, because without them we wouldn't have the Eucharist, right?
So it's been beautiful. All right, so let's go.
Father David is a good friend of ours, and he is always gracious and takes our folks on the Holy Shroud exhibit tour. It is the best. The legionaries have the best one. There's one here in Jerusalem and one in Rome, and I've never seen a better Holy Shroud exhibit where God wrote his love letter with his own blood. After they're done with the Holy Shroud exhibit, they're all going to come back here for dinner. And here they're all set up. If you want to know where to sit, you look for a table that has that. And they have our special room, private room for our group right here. They're all going to be back here in just a few minutes for a very nice dinner. And here's George. Hello, George. I've known George for over 20 years. He's a good man. He always takes good care of our groups. Thank you.